Alright everyone, welcome. Today, we're kicking off Chapter 2 by diving into a crucial skill for any professional using language that is both accurate and persuasive. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. Let's get started. Our goal today is to understand that strategic communication drives results. We'll break this down into 4 key areas: the power of positive versus negative language, when to use professional jargon, choosing between direct and indirect speech, and finally, how to keep our arguments strong by avoiding logical fallacies. This is all about making our words work for us. Let's start with a little neuroscience. Your brain actually works harder to process negative sentences. Think about this: if I say, "Don't think of an elephant," what's the first thing you do? You think of an elephant. This mental hiccup makes negative commands inefficient. Understanding this is the first step to communicating more effectively. This leads us to a crucial shift in perspective: are we problem-focused or solution-focused? Negative, problem-focused language like, "This won't work," shuts people down and makes them defensive. But positive, solution-focused language like, "Let's figure out how we can make this work," opens up collaboration and creative thinking. It's a simple switch that changes the entire dynamic. So, how do we apply this? Here are 3 everyday scenarios. Instead of just pointing out typos, praise the good content first. When you disagree, frame it as adding a new perspective, not shutting down their ridiculous idea. And if you have to say no, explain your current situation and offer a future possibility. It's about being constructive, not critical. Now, let's talk about jargon. It's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's a shortcut for experts. It builds efficiency, shows credibility, and creates a sense of belonging. On the other hand, for outsiders, it's confusing and intimidating, making them feel excluded. The impact of jargon depends entirely on who you're talking to. This means the golden rule for using jargon is analyze your audience. If you're communicating internally with fellow experts, using jargon is great for speed and precision. But when you're talking to external groups or non-experts, you have to minimize it. If you absolutely must use a technical term, explain it with a simple analogy, like we see in the example here. This is all about overcoming what's called the curse of knowledge. That's the cognitive bias where we forget that other people don't know what we know. The fix is a 3-step process. First, be aware that your terms might be unfamiliar. Second, make an effort to translate your ideas into simpler language. And third, validate their understanding by asking questions. Next up, choosing your communication style. Sometimes you need to be direct and say exactly what you mean. It's fast, clear, and great for making quick decisions. Other times, it's better to use euphemisms, a softer, more indirect approach. This helps preserve relationships and fosters collaboration. Neither is better than the other, they are tools for different situations. So, when should we be direct? 3 key situations. First, in emergencies, when you need immediate action. Second, when conveying critical, can't be misunderstood information, like a hard deadline. And third, when you're talking about non-negotiable company values or ethical lines. The key is to be clear and fact-based, not emotional. And when is a more diplomatic, euphemistic style better? When you're giving negative feedback and want the person to improve without feeling attacked. When you're asking for a favor that might be a burden. And when you're disagreeing with someone but want to maintain a good relationship. Just be careful not to be so indirect that your point gets lost. Now, a major roadblock to persuasive communication: logical fallacies. These are arguments that sound convincing on the surface but are actually built on flawed reasoning. Using them, even accidentally, destroys your credibility, turns discussions into arguments, and leads to terrible decisions. For any professional, learning to spot and avoid them is a critical skill. Let's look at a few common fallacies. The hasty generalization is judging a whole group based on one or two examples. Ad hominem is when you attack the person instead of their argument. And the false dichotomy is presenting only two extreme options when more exist. You hear these in the workplace all the time, and they're poison to productive conversations. Here are three more to watch out for. The tu quoque fallacy, or appeal to hypocrisy, is justifying your mistake by saying, "Well, they did it too." The straw man is when you misrepresent someone's argument to make it easier to attack. And the appeal to authority is saying something must be true simply because an expert said it, without providing any actual logic or evidence. Let's shift gears to sentence structure. Notice the difference between using noun phrases and verb phrases. Sentences built around nouns like, "a review was conducted," tend to be long, stiff, and unclear about who is responsible. But sentences driven by verbs like, "the marketing team will review," are concise, dynamic, and clearly assign action. So why are action verbs so powerful? 3 reasons. First, they clarify responsibility. It's obvious WHO needs to do what. Second, they demand concrete action, not just abstract ideas. Activate communication. Is fuzzy. Hold a weekly meeting is clear. Finally, they force us to be results-oriented. They're not just words, they're commands for action. Let's make this a habit. When you write a report or an instruction, end your sentences with clear, action-oriented verbs. Instead of saying, "analysis completed," say, "we recommend option A." Instead of "minutes to be shared," say, "Ms. Kim, please share the minutes by 5 p.m. Always review your writing and ask, does this sentence clearly state what needs to happen next?